Hey everyone, it's Jimmy Tebeau at the Schwag, and today we're here with Larrysells, the owner of the Uptown Theater. We're here at the Uptown Theater in Kansas City. What's up, Larry?
Missouri.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah.
How long you had this theater here?
Well, what time is it?
It's almost 2020.
Yeah, I've had it 25 years, Jimmy.
I know we've been playing here for 15 of those years. We started here in 2014, I believe on Thanksgiving.
You're my favorite act.
Oh, well, we appreciate it. We used to play at the Grand Emporium down the street for like 5 years, and we used to sell it out at 400 people. And this room holds what, like 2,000?
It can under the right circumstances. We do 800 of your rabid fans.
Yeah, it was. We were overflowing the Grand Emporium, and it's since closed. But yeah, the room fits the show well with the Schwag. We end up doing a couple shows a year here. What other shows are memorable that you've had here over the 25 years? I know Bob Dylan was here, Chris Christopherson, Widespread Panic.
Well, we've had some great ones. The people that come back all the time is Chris Christopherson and Lyle Lovett. Of course, this was the first place that he played outside of Texas. So he talks about the Uptown wherever he goes. I just had some of my people went to St. Louis to see him, and he talked about the Uptown in Kansas City.
Wow.
But he was the warm-up act for Sleep at the Wheel, which is funny because the Sleep at the Wheel is the only band I ever sued.
Sued him?
Yeah, that's another story for another time. I learned, even though I won, you don't sue bands, you don't sue their agent. In that case, it was the William Morris Agency, the biggest agency.
Oh, they're big.
Yeah, you'd think we'd be shut down after that, but it worked out fine, and I've learned, and now we treat the bands as if they're wonderful people. Chris Isaac was great. We always hang out, and he always insists on coming out and singing a song to my girlfriend. But we've had some really great people here. We had Sting here. I mean, can you imagine? Sting when he plays, auditoriums and huge rooms, but he picks some small ones every once in a while, and we got it. We just had Lana Del Rey here, who sold out in about 15 minutes.
She's a comedian, right?
No, she isn't a comedian. She's a singer. And
was she here on stage by herself? I thought I saw pictures on Facebook from that show. Was that last week?
No, she had a couple dancers. It was last week, and her dad and I became acquainted and kind of friendly, and went back into the dressing room and got a bunch of pictures. And
that's
turns out she was related to some friends of mine that have been friends of mine for 30 year.
Small world. Now that show sold out.
Oh, it sold out immediately.
I only thought she was a comedian because I saw pictures. Your social media marketing department is doing a great job posting stuff. But
not what you said earlier, but okay. I guess you're on camera and you're being nice. I got it. Cool.
Thanks, Larry.
You're welcome. They'll see this too. Well, maybe.
Oh, you see, the glory is I get to edit it later.
Yeah.
This isn't live streaming.
That's true. I forgot.
So that'll be funny. No, and I'll probably leave that in, though.
But we just had Chelsea Handler here, and she is a comedian and funny and sexy. And as I already told you, Chris Christopherson, who's been here a lot of times. First time that I had him here, we went back in the dressing room and talked. And after talking politics for a while, he said, well, I bet you would have wished I had done some different songs, some anti-war songs. I said, yeah, that's true. He says, I normally do my standards, but he says, next time I come, I'll throw in a couple for you. So,
oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I told him I was opening up a room called The Conspiracy, where we talk about 9/11 and the Kennedy assassinations and all the other stuff that's going on. And he said, you're getting ready to open it up. You fly me in, and I'll come back and play some songs for free. And I thought that was a pretty great offer. So, some of these people you get to know, and some you wish you hadn't. And so there's always fun times. I remember arguing with Ian Anderson for 45 minutes.
From Jethro Tull?
Mr. Jethro.
What was he upset about?
Well, he thought that he was just doing a kind of a quiet set, and he thought we should shut down our bar, which, of course, is the only way we can make any money, because we don't get any money off the tickets or anything. And so we had to have that debate, and he thought that the audience wouldn't be receptive or would be too noisy.
Oh, if they were a little saucy?
Well, or if they were going back and forth to get some drinks. And I said, because they'll think it's a rock and roll gig. And I said, well, why did you mention Jethro Tull in all your advertising if you wanted to do a different type of set? So,
Right.
anyway, after the show, the audience was great. There was no noise. I had offered have him buy me out for $2,000, and he wouldn't do it.
Well, that would have been fair because I thought that show probably wasn't cheap.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. But he wouldn't pay that. But after the show, I went back, ran into his wife, and I told her, I said, "Get Ian out here. I want him to apologize." She goes, "Apologize for what?" I said, "Well, because the crowd was wonderful, just like I told them they would be here in Kansas City."
Oh, and you ended up selling liquor anyway.
We sold the liquor, no noise, everybody's respectful. And so she says, "We're not apologizing." But Ian's been back several times since then, and we go back and talk politics, and I think he's great.
Now, for the jam band fans, fans of Grateful Dead or whatever, you've had, I know one time you had 2 nights of Widespread Panic here.
Yeah, biggest bars we ever had.
And it's each night sold out, right?
Yep.
It was like a Tuesday and Wednesday, I think. And don't you own the parking lot right across the street, the little strip mall? And didn't that turn into like a 2-day camping lot or something? Or that's where Shakedown Street was, or they had vendors set up there?
Well, they started running all their operation out of their cars and doing all kinds of stuff. And of course, that pissed me off because I wasn't in the business very long, and I didn't understand how people could come and think they could do that stuff. As it turned out, I learned, and we let everybody do it. We became hippie-oriented, and everybody's gentle people anyway. They're nice, and so they're over there competing with us. I mean, some of these people drank more out in the parking lot than they drank when they came in here. But
oh, I see.
But it's actually a gentle crowd. They picked up after themselves. It was a great show, packed both nights. Tremendous bars, and we had them one other time after that. Then it got too big for us. So, but that was a tremendous show. On one of them, the roof started leaking because we had a torrential downpour, and we put people with ropes and rain gear up on the roof because water was pouring in on the stage.
Oh, no way.
And we got everything sealed off. And they were going to stop the show and everything, but I took a wheelbarrow load of booze back, and they just said they'd go ahead and see if they could play some more. Well, we got an extra hour and 15 minutes on a bar, which made us about $10,000 extra. And we got the rain stopped, even though it was a dangerous endeavor on our part. And the show went on.
During Widespread Panic.
Yeah. In Widespread Panic.
It's so hard to put these shows on, so I think it's amazing because we've been playing here for 15 years. We've played over here over 30 or 40 times, and we've done some crazy stuff. We've done 2-day runs here where we've had vendors out in the back and fire spinners and bringing in other bands. The one time you put on that event where you had 4 rooms going. Right now we're sitting in, this is called the Encore room,
This
right?
is the Encore now.
This is a small room up front that holds about 200 people or so.
Couple hundred.
And then there's the main room up, the main auditorium, which holds about 2,000. But then upstairs, there's another 2 levels, and then there's rooms up there that hold like 200 and 300.
Well, we have one that'll hold 700. We have one that'll hold 150. Then we have another one right above us now, which will hold about 300. So we have a bunch of different rooms, and like New Year's Eve, we have all the rooms open. You can go from place to place and hear different music and get little different vibes, and still open bars. All you can drink and do for $50. We're the best deal in town.
And that usually does thousands of people.
Yeah, we go between 1,500 to 2,500, depending on what the weather is.
Since you're using the whole building, you don't have to limit it to 2,000.
No, we can do. It's comfortable at 1,500 to 2,000, but we've had 2,700 in here for that night.
Just want to get into mention conspiracy theories. You and me have had a number of discussions about conspiracy
Well, actually,
theories.
there are no such things as conspiracy theories. That's a derogatory term that the CIA used to denigrate people that were out gathering facts. there are facts, and you can interpret them how you will.
It's like, oh yeah, no, that's not real.
Yeah, but as an attorney, I understand the psychological effect of calling it conspiracy theory, crazy or fringe. But the CIA came up with that. They've been involved in many of the black operations that happened in the world since they were formed in 1947.
Right. Well, that one discussion we were having about the pyramids and how they weren't really burial chambers and potentially power generators, electricity generators, which since you and me have had that discussion, I've seen a number of other signs that point that direction.
Yeah, I took Jimmy Mars over there.
To Egypt.
To Egypt.
You've been there.
With his wife, and I took some other people. And we went through the pyramids and the Luxor and some of the other places, and found out the temples and the pyramids were all generators of energy. The Great Pyramid that we went in and sat in a sarcophagus, which was not a sarcophagus, but it was an area where they concentrated a lot of harmonic energy and transformed gold into what we call manna or philosopher's stone and some things that would be ingested to let people live a long time. But we did get to go through all of it, and Jimmy Mars was a guy that wrote the book Crossfire, which Oliver Stone bought and used for his movie JFK, which was about the Kennedy assassination. It was interesting because this last weekend I was down in Dallas and got to meet with Oliver Stone and talked about his new project. And of course, one of his favorite guys was Robert Grodin, the guy that took the Zapruder film. The one that everybody sees all the time. It shows his head exploding and obviously did not come from the back. But I published a book called Absolute Proof that was mostly written by Robert. And Robert's a legend in the research community, those conspiracy theorists. But he got the investigation opened back up, the congressional investigation that said that at the end of the day, Kennedy was probably killed by a conspiracy and they ought to have a more open investigation. Ronald Reagan never did that, so we're still waiting for that to happen. Oliver Stone then came around a few years later, did his movie, which did get some congressional action and which got a lot of documents released from all the government agencies, which kind of confirmed what we, as theorists, had been talking about for years.
Well, getting the book out helps spread the information, and here's the facts, right?
Well, he calls it absolute proof. I'm an attorney and I don't agree with that, but I think that a lot of people would agree that it certainly leads to those conclusions. But the more information you can get out, the better. The book I published and the one he wrote is a good researcher's tool because it has 1,000 pictures that let you look at Kennedy's body, Oswald's body, look at the various routes that were taken that day by Kennedy and others, and the various photographers that captured some of the important scenes. So it all starts to work pretty well. But I'm glad Oliver Stone's going to do some follow-up filming on that subject.
That's awesome. You showed me that photo of you and Oliver Stone in Dallas. I'm like, what is going on there? That's fascinating.
My daughter and my son, when I was really deep into this stuff a few years ago, gave me a T-shirt that says, "My daddy knows who killed JFK." And it said, "The introduction is 4 hours." Edit that one.
No, what I'll do is I'll clip to me laughing. Totally getting the joke.
I got it.
That was really funny, Larry. Engineering, there's
Engineering, which nobody knows anyway.